Good afternoon, my name is Nathan Dorfman. Today I'll be conducting my final speech for Column 200, and I chose to do an informative speech on a topic that I know a little bit about my personal experiences. And today I'll be informing you that there's more meets the eye to the state of Arizona. And that we'll talk about the 3 climate zones that are in Arizona that are distinctive to the state, talk about the couple sizes of the forests, and we'll talk about some of the natural wonders. Now, Arizona is one of the largest states in the union, but little is known about it outside of Phoenix and Tucson, which houses 2 major colleges in ASU and U of A. Also, it holds some pretty unique treasures and some interesting climate that isn't seen in such a small place comparatively in really many other areas of the world. Now, the climate I was talking about is broken into 3 areas: the mountains, the plateau region, and the desert region. The mountains is what's typically, it's the snow, the rain, the cold winters, the nice summers, things that you would expect to see in Colorado, Utah, northern Utah, Montana, but it's in Arizona, it's in northern Arizona. And the tallest peak in Arizona is 12,000 plus feet, Humphreys Peak. And this is the tail end of the Rockies, which stretches down into Arizona. And then about an hour south of that, or an hour and a half south of that, starts the plateau region, which is of Sedona, the Verde Valley, in that area, which leads into the desert. Now, the plateau it still snows, but it doesn't snow as much. It gets hot, but it doesn't get as hot. It's a real happy medium in the climate zones. There's not as much forest, but there's still forest. It's pretty nice. And then about 2 hours south of that, you start the desert zone, or the desert region. And the lowest point of the desert region is 70 feet. So in that, you go in a 4 to 6 hour drive, you can go from 12,000 feet to 70 feet above sea level. That's a pretty big change in such a short amount of time to be able to drive. There's not many other places you're going to really be able to see that type of variation, that type of change. Now, the desert, it's just like your classic desert. It's 100 plus degrees during the summertime, dry. There's not a lot of humidity, and it can get barren when you get outside of the developed areas, but it still has its perks. During the winters, it's real nice, 70 degrees, beautiful weather there. And this is around the Phoenix and Tucson areas, which is why people just associate it's just desert, because all they really know is Phoenix and Tucson. Well, there's desert there, so that's how it is everywhere. Not the case. All right, now one of the biggest myths is that there is no forest in Arizona, which I just talked about. There's a mountain region, and in that mountain region, it holds the world's largest ponderosa pine forest up north. And as you can see in this picture right here, taken on top of the Mogollon Rim in northern Arizona, it's as far as you can see, it's nothing but pine trees, ponderosa pines. As far as you can see, you get to this mountain range up here, and beyond that, more trees, more pine trees. It's a pretty amazing sight to see, and a lot of people don't realize that. Like I said, it looks like you're in Colorado. It looks like you're in Utah or Montana, but you're actually in Arizona. People don't realize that. Also, the saguaro cactus forest, which this here is a picture of a saguaro cactus. Most people have seen them in movies, magazines, or if they ever got to drive through Arizona, they saw those. Arizona has the largest amount of saguaro cacti anywhere in the world, which is that's two forests larger than anywhere in the world. Also, a third one is they have the largest petrified forest in the world. Now, the petrified wood is just wood from the trees from the Triassic period. They got buried under sediment and fresh water, and just over the time through faults and earthquakes and movements, and they've come back to the surface. But now they're fossilized and they're petrified. So that's three the world's largest forests in the state of Arizona. Not a lot of people really knew about that. Now, Arizona not only contains one natural wonder of the world in the Grand Canyon, but it contains multiple state parks and some notable landmarks that a lot of people don't realize are there unless they actually go and research. Now, yes, there's the Grand Canyon, and the Grand Canyon cannot be explained of how beautiful it is or how amazing it looks. It's one of those things you have to actually go and see. That's why it's one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. That's why we're the Grand Canyon state. Now, also two other places. One is the Red Rocks, which is where I'm from, in Sedona, Arizona. It's a lot of videos, a lot of commercials that people see contain the Red Rocks. A lot of movies are there, but people think it's Moab. They don't realize that it's in Arizona. Yes, Moab has Red Rocks, but so does Sedona. And also another one is the Painted Desert. And in the Painted Desert, which is this right here, not a lot of people get to see unless you're driving through northern Arizona or you're going through the reservation, it's, you know, pinks, purples, just these tans and light blues and colors that you really wouldn't see unless you were on on a canvas. That's where you see these things at. It's absolutely beautiful, and people don't realize that that's there. Now, in my time that I've been in the military, and also in my travels, I've talked to many people that have heard of Arizona, but none of them have ever been to Arizona. And the conversations usually end and them not believing that there's actually more to the state than desert and Phoenix. So now in this speech we talked about 3 climate zones, the size of the forests, and we talked about some of the natural wonders that are in Arizona, the people that didn't realize were there before. And the purpose of this speech was to inform people that there's a little more to Arizona than meets the eye. The next time you hear someone saying Arizona is just desert, or Phoenix, or Tucson, or there's nothing there but cacti and snakes, you can tell them, hey, no, there's a little more to it. There's a mountain range. There's trees there. There's a whole lot more, and it's pretty unique that a lot of other states, there's a uniqueness there that a lot of other states don't have. Now, all the information was provided by myself, a good standing Arizonian, and proud to be from the state. Thank you. Have a good day.